Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Benedicta, I'm obsessed with Star Stable, and I upload all sorts of Star Stable related content on my horse-themed Instagram, which I just call Horsetagram. That includes outfits, edits, drawings, cosplays, and really anything Star Stable. And today is the most special video because once again, we're logging out. And that is because, I don't know if you guys have seen, but back in January, I uploaded a video of making a Star Stable gingerbread horse plushie. Please watch it, I worked really hard on it. And we are going to do something similar to that today. And the reason for that is AI. More specifically, I don't know if you guys remember or if you have watched it, but I also uploaded a video of how I made my SSO starter pack without using AI edit, because I was super angry about seeing so many people using AI for this trend. And guess what? I got angry again because I kept seeing people do this and I'm just so disappointed. I see so many creators, SSO and non-SSO creators too, whose content I used to enjoy who are now uploading this AI nonsense. And by the way, I unfollow everyone like that instantly. If I catch anyone post AI stuff, I just unfollow immediately because I'm genuinely so tired of it. So I decided to take my personal war against AI to the next level and do something that AI could never. So this is gonna be another crafting video, and the inspiration for this was the SSO starter pack that I mentioned a second ago. But before we start, let me just say a few words about generative AI and why you should never use it again. Not even for a little joke or whatever. AI uses a huge amount of water to cool down its systems, about 560 billion liters of water yearly, and that number could double if we keep this up. AI also uses a lot of fossil fuel-based electricity, significantly contributing to the greenhouse gas emissions. Also, the mining and production of metals used in AI hardware can lead to soil erosion and pollution. And I don't even have to mention at this point how it's actually art theft and it's stealing people's jobs. And really ugly, by the way, like all these terrible AI generated pictures look the same, it's awful. So yeah, by using generative AI, you literally contribute to global warming, pollution, wasting fresh water, and stealing art. Even when you just ask ChatGPT to write a funny joke. So stop using AI and start using your own creativity. Anyway, with all that being said, let's log out and start making an SSO starter pack in real life. But I need to tell you how it all started because this was not my original plan. Originally, I wanted to buy a model horse and I just wanted to modify it a little bit with some air dry clay and by repainting it to make it look like my horse Obsidian. When I started this project, I was on my little vacation and I was staying at my parents' house, and my mom and I went to every single toy store or any place where we thought we could find plastic horses, but we did not find a single one. Or at least not a single one that would have been good for this purpose. Oh, by the way, I meant to add, I know that I originally added myself too in the starter pack edit, but I decided to leave that out because first of all, I was not very keen on making so many things, especially not a human doll, and second of all, it would have been just straight up me. But I don't need another me, I am me, me am I. So it felt like it would kinda make no sense, cause I already exist, I just need to make the rest of the pack. So anyway, back to the horse. After not finding a good horse base, I was like, you know what? Fripp it, I'm making the entire horse from scratch, let's do this. So that is why you are seeing me trying to visualize the whole thing here. I knew from the get-go that I would want to record the whole process, so I started recording before I even know how big I would want this horse toy to be. After the first sketch though, I was like, yeah, that's good enough. And I immediately moved on to designing the separate pieces, cutting them out of paper and assembling them, to see if I could make a posable horse doll. You can see on my edit that I made Opsy look like his legs could be moved. And that is what I wanted on the real-life horse toy as well. But on the edit you can also see that there are only 2 points of articulation in each of his legs, which I was not happy with. I wanted this toy to be able to move like the in-game Jorvik Frisian. So I added extra joints in his wrists, ankles, these parts. And I added extra articulation to his elbows, this part. I have seen a few posable horse toys before, although not many, toy companies do not make these often. And the one problem that literally every single one of those have is that there is a single joint in their shoulders, which always results in some weird unnatural poses and movement. So I decided that my horse would have a shoulder and an elbow joint to make him look more realistic. For size reference and just for inspiration in general, I used this horse toy that I own, by the way. This was the greatest treasure of my childhood, this toy. It is an original Barbie horse toy, it's about 20 years old, and as you can see, it still looks really good. I was a very careful and gentle child, I never broke my toys or anything, so this stayed pretty much in perfect condition. It's not posable, but it used to be able to walk and make noise. Of course it doesn't work anymore, sadly the old old batteries melted into it. I mean, it's still 20 years old, but otherwise it looks great. So yeah, I used that for reference, but mine was gonna be a posable horse, not a walking one. That would have been a little too ambitious to make a walking horse with batteries and everything. Once I figured out where I want all the articulation and how many exactly, I started searching for the appropriate materials and I found floor. It's literally just floor. You know that rubbery material floor is covered with sometimes? Yeah, I had that lying around at home and a lot of it. So I decided I would make my horse out of floor. So I guess that makes him a floor horse? A floors? Then, using this floor material, I tested the articulation of the front legs, and it worked perfectly, exactly as I intended. So I screwed all the pieces together and proceeded to cut the leg pieces out of this floor material. And it's a very good material to work with. It does not break or rip, but somehow it's still super easy to cut with just scissors, so I thought it would be the perfect base for the horse. Once I had all the legs assembled, I moved on to cutting the body and the head and neck out of the same floor material. Then, using some hot glue and cardboard, I glued all the separate pieces together. I tested the legs and neck after assembling and everything worked perfectly. I started filling up the gaps in the body with random tape and pieces of paper, really anything I could find, and once I was happy with the overall shape, I started modeling. For that, I used this 2-component epoxy clay, and there I have my best friend to thank for, Captain, who is an incredibly talented artist, and upon learning about this project of mine, she gifted me some of her epoxy, which was so generous of her. Thank you so much, Captain. Also, if you guys are enjoying this content, go give her some likes and follows and whatnots, because this could not have happened without her. It's also really funny how she provided me the material for a toy horse that is the embodiment of essentially a lot of memories and emotions. Because you guys may or may not know, but I started playing SSO when I was going through a very rough time of my life, and playing this game with my best friend was literally the only thing keeping me going for a long time. And Obsidian, my favorite horse, is really just a symbol of this time, a symbol of this bond and the fact that she has always been there for me. Oh gosh, I'm getting emotional. But yeah, Opsi is technically all of that, and the fact that now she is the reason that all this could even happen, it's just really nice to think about, and I'm very grateful for it. Anyway, so thanks to Captain, I had more than enough epoxy to make this horse toy. I started with the legs, then continued with the body, and I left the head and neck for last. Then, before finishing modeling the neck, I grabbed some of this black fake hair and glued it onto the base, then covered it with epoxy. Once that was all done, I finished working on his face. I added the eyes, the ears, and fixed some mistakes, and with that, the base was done. Once it dried completely, I started sanding it down. I just used some sandpaper for that. You can see it on this footage. The lighter grey areas have already been sanded down, while the darker areas were still waiting to be sanded down. Once I was done with sanding down the entire body, I started painting it with this glossy black acrylic paint. I only ever used this epoxy material once before, so I was not sure how well the paint would stick or what painting it would even be like, but it went so well there were areas that didn't even need a second coat. After painting the entire horse black, I started searching for material for the feathering on the legs. For a while I was really considering making it out of epoxy as well, but then I would have lost the articulation in the wrist, ankle, the part above the hooves. So I decided against it and went to look for some fluffy material. I actually went to the city to buy fabric, but I couldn't find anything I liked. So I searched for materials at home again, and I found this floof attached to an old coat. And I thought that would be perfect. I cut tiny pieces out of the floof and just glued them on the legs with a glue gun. Gotta say, it's not the prettiest solution. Up close it doesn't look very good, but from afar I think it's okay. Then I added tiny details like painting the eyes and whatnot, and with that, Opsi was pretty much done. So then I moved on to making his tack. I started with his bridle and made the horns out of epoxy, as well as the saddle, which I thought I was recording, but no, I forgot to push the record button apparently, so I had another one of those "wait, I wasn't recording this whole time" moment, but here this is what the saddle looked like after it was done. I painted these black as well, and I also made little buckles and decorations out of the epoxy that would go on the bridle, like his little spider decoration. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but Opsi always wears a spider on his bridle. Then I started assembling the bridle, and working with these tiny pieces of fabric was pretty obnoxious. And it does not look great. It's pretty wonky looking, like you can tell it's somebody's first time doing this. But it does the job, I think, like from far away it's alright. Once the bridle was assembled, I started decorating. I glued on the spider, the little buckles, and then I started bedazzling. And you guys, I love bedazzling. If I could, I would literally cover the entire world in glitter and gemstones. and sometimes I tend to go a little over the top with it, but I wanted the tack to resemble the in-game version, so I tried to control my urges. I also made the cat that I always have equipped on Opsy. It is the birthday cat and my favorite pet in the entire game. But then, I noticed that I still had some gemstones left. So I kept on bedazzling, and as you can see, it started getting out of hand. But once I covered the top part of the horn of the saddle, I ran out of gemstones, so that was where I had to stop. By the way, I only have these gemstones because I have a very sparkly top that has a lot of these glued on, and they keep falling off, and I always just pick them up and keep them for later. And I'm really happy that I did, because they have proven themselves to be pretty useful. Finally, I painted the cat, and gotta say, this part was so nice and therapeutic. To just paint on tiny stripes, it was very enjoyable. And once that was done, everything was finished. My SSO starter pack has officially come to life.
When you hear her call from the mountains high, let her sweep you in with her voice and let you in with a lullaby, a little song she sings from the forest. Quiet melodies humming in the trees. This is the song of the forest.
Alright, so this is it. This is my little in real life SSO starter pack. It might not be the prettiest or most well-made one. I mean, I can see all the mistakes like the scratches and dents on Opsy's body where I didn't sand him down properly. And I can see that the tack is not that pretty. I mean, there are some people I see on Instagram who make these incredible mini model horse tack items that literally look like real bridles, except they are like 3 centimeters long. It blows my mind. I don't know how they do that. So I know that it's not even close to that level, but they shouldn't even be mentioned in the same sentence. But still, I feel like as a first try, it overall looks kinda nice. Like, I'm actually really proud of the result. By the way, you may have noticed already, but on some of the footage, Opsy's spider just doesn't have any legs. And that is because during this shoot, Opsy had his first and so far only fall. He fell off the bench and I got it on camera. It was pretty funny. Thankfully nothing broke except the spider's legs all fell off. But don't worry, I fixed him since then. I replaced his epoxy legs with wire legs. And here's some footage of me untacking Opsy and moving his legs a little, just to show you guys what he can do. He can do so much more though. He can jump, he can rear, he can gallop, Spanish walk, moose walk, whatever you want. Which, by the way, if you guys allow me a little bit of a story time, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but there is this Barbie movie, Barbie and the Magic Pegasus is what it's called, I think. It came out like 20 years ago, and it also had merch, obviously. So in the same year this Pegasus toy came out, and you guys have no idea how much 10-year-old me wanted that thing. I'm pretty sure I didn't even watch the movie back then. I only got to see it like much later, like in my 20s. Back then I just had no access to it, but I saw the toy in TV commercials, and I desperately wanted it. It was big, and its legs were posable and all. I loved it so much, so I asked my parents to buy it for me. But they explained to me that it's a little too pricey right now. And since my parents introduced me to the concept of things just being too expensive sometimes pretty well, I actually understood and I was like, oh, okay, sure, that's alright. But I did not forget about it, and later I asked for it again, I think for my birthday. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was for my birthday. And this time my parents were like, you know what, you can get the Pegasus for your birthday. I was so incredibly happy. And I remember my mom and I going to every single toy store we could reach, but we could not find a single Pegasus toy. Every toy store, or anyone that we could ask, said that it was out of stock, there will be no more coming. We really kept trying, we did our best to get it. But after trying every option, we just had to give up, and that was the end of it. And it's not like traumatic, obviously, I accepted it, but I still do remember it. And I think working on this project kinda healed my inner child just a little bit. Oh, and just a quick word about the little stop motion animation. Again, not very pretty, but it's the best I could do. This was the third animation because the first two I made looked terrible, and the fourth try in total because there was one attempt that was so bad I didn't even have to turn it into an animation to see how bad it was. But it was pretty fun to work on it actually, and this was the setup I used to make it. Not exactly professional, the background was a lamp and garbage bags, but I had this transition in mind where in-game Opsy would turn into a toy while galloping, and I just had to try and make it happen. Anyway, this has been me making my SSO starter pack in real life. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really hope that you enjoyed it at least a little bit. Again, if you enjoyed this video, go show some love and support to my best friend. Her Instagram is on screen and I will link it in the description too, because all of this could not have happened without her. And yeah, really, I'm just so grateful. If you made it this far, thank you so much, and I really hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.